have to get in the body. You can't get in the body with the fingers. If you use the fingers, they can't get to the body. Plus, the fingers can't get you over the piano by themselves. Now, there's 5 notes. 5 notes on the piano. And I say, those 5 notes were played, and I didn't move a finger. You see that? Now, who's going to be the greatest pianist? The one who can do 5 notes with 1 move, or the one who does 5 notes with 5 moves? See? So it's going to be the cat who knows how to get from this point to this point. And
so what did Barry Harris mean there? It's great, isn't it? He said, did you want to play 5 notes with 5 movements, or 5 notes with 1 movement? And he was basically referring to the idea of going, or. So what is he talking about? He's really pointing towards something called rotation. Now, this is something he obviously learned from the rich lineage of teachers he had, because as far as I'm aware, he studied with Sophia Rosoff, and she had a direct lineage with the work of Abby Whiteside, and I'll talk a little, a great piano teacher, and I'll talk a little bit more about her teaching towards the end of this video. So when Barry says 5 movements, he means 5 finger movements. Or do you want to make all those notes in 1 movement, which we refer to as rotation? Some piano teachers refer to it as forearm rotation. So I actually am moving the fingers. My piano teacher taught me this method of using as least energy as possible for a maximum impact. And some of my early lessons, he said to me, you don't play piano with your fingers, which was quite, as a teenager, it was quite mesmerisingly confusing. But it did eventually make sense. So how do you achieve this, and what's the best way about going about bringing it into your playing? So rotation, so you might just be at home, and you might want to do this now. Hold your hand out in front of you and just grab here and rotate, and you'll feel the movement there. So as I say, some piano teachers refer to it as forearm rotation. You might feel a little bit of movement here. Certainly if the elbow is bent like this and you do this, you'll certainly feel the bicep move there. You're using rotation. So Abby Whiteside talked about the fact that everything comes from the torso down here to the forearm and then out to the fingers. She referred to the fingers as the periphery, the edge of the sound. Okay, that the golfer's golf club, but not the golfer himself swinging, if that makes sense. Or we could use the compass analogy. If you're drawing a circle, the pin and where the compass is the body, and the pencil at the end is the fingers. So that's what Barry's talking about, and I think it's wonderful because he gets straight to the point. So how can you get this into your playing? And what does it do to your playing? It makes you control the notes. It makes you use less energy. It makes you have a softer tone, a rounder tone, because you're playing with your whole being. And as they say in the Vedanta tradition, seeing is being. So if you can play with more of your being, the music is more transcendental, more profound. And so we can use more of the truth. We can get a richer sound, a more moving sound, something that transcends. So, go back again. He said 5 notes with 5 movements, 5 fingers. You could try this at home if you think about it. There's a certain point where the fingers won't go any faster, but with rotation, that's pretty ultimate in fact speed. So, here we go. Here's the best way to start practicing it. Would be maybe to just start with C and G and rock. If you feel the fingers reach like this, look, stop. Just work on rotation like that. And if you feel you're getting that, change to 1 and 4, in this case C and F. And then maybe go to C and E. And then C and D. Then in time, you get the control of that via rotation. Now, think about Mozart's Alberti bass, if you're familiar with Mozart's pattern of. Now, I don't really want to be doing that all with finger movement when I could just go. So there's an example of rotation. Can you rotate a chord? No, because that is a different movement, and that's for another video, and that's top arm movement from here, coming down here. But rotation, And this is a lovely way, as I said, of practicing it. If you think about how you reach for octaves, I was teaching one of my students the other day who was working on a jazz piece, and it had a lovely little... And I could see he just didn't need to be discussed, because he didn't go. He just rotated it beautifully. Just like that. And I think I finished on that note. So rotation is something I encourage you to get into your playing. Another thing to think about, of course, is if you have a piano teacher, ask them to look at what kind of movements are you making, because the teacher can look and observe and say, well, you're using finger movement there, or you're using forearm rotation, or you're using your top arm. So they can advise, but also you could film yourself. Have a look at what kind of movements do you make. Are you just a finger player, a finger tapper player, like the great Glenn Gould? Phenomenal piano player, but something I just couldn't play like him. It's just, I mean, I could never play like him, but I couldn't play to that length of time the way he would just use the fingers so precisely. So rotation, a very important thing to get into your playing. And as I said, film yourself so that you can watch yourself back, and then you get an idea about if you're rotating or if you're just a finger player. And you're using your whole body. Abby has a lovely analogy in the book. You know, if somebody had something in their eye, like one of your children, you wouldn't just go in like this. There would be the whole body behind it to help remove the eyelash. And this is what this is about. This is about bringing the whole body in for a complete control of the piano. Okay? So I'm going to finish the video. I talked a few years ago about some of my favourite piano books. And one of them was Abby Whiteside's piano book here. And so I'm just going to finish the video with that video, just a little clip of me talking a little bit more about this book. The book is still available. Some people say it's quite hard to penetrate. I didn't find it so at all. I think there's quite a few online resources, and people like myself and a few other YouTubers are trying to put some videos up there to explore this technique of rotation. So I'll finish with this video that I did a few years ago talking about some of my favourite books. So I'll finish with that, and as I say, I hope that helps, and I hope we can not play 5 notes with 5 fingers, not 5 movements, but play 5 notes with 1 movement. And finally, I saved the best till last. My piano teacher fundamentally taught me this technique of playing and philosophy of playing, and that is by the American piano teacher called Abby Whiteside. She wrote 2 books. She wrote one called Indispensables of Playing the Piano and Mastering the Chopin Etudes. Now I also have I'm lucky I have an original copy of Indispensables of Piano Playing, and this is a fascinating book, and I owed out a lot of my piano facility and technique down to Abby Whiteside's book. It's not about endlessly practicing scales. She uses words like splashing and outlining. She talks about the fulcrum of the body, how the whole body has to be involved when we play. I mean, it's a book you have to read really to put into action, but it's a book I use daily in my piano teaching with students with different technical issues. When somebody walked into her piano study, you know, she knew that everybody was different, and we're all autonomous, we're all unique, and she knew how to sort of find a way. And you know, one student would come in and couldn't play the piece, and the next one could, and she was fascinated how she could help that student. So these different phrases you get about what she calls outlining and splashing, finding the pulse of the music, and you know, things like she would make her students keep going even if they were doing a full fist palm on the piano, you know, in a concerto to finish it. So this book, this is the newer version. This is Abby Whiteside's On Playing the Piano. I heartily recommend that. Here's my original older copy, which is well thumbed, and I know it is a very, very useful book. If you're a jazz pianist, there's people like Fred Hirsch, the American jazz pianist. If you watch him play, and if you watch myself play, you'll see that we use the whole body to play, not just the fingers, not just finger tappers, but the whole fulcrum, using the whole body, the whole shoulders, the whole torso to play. So that's a little insight maybe to a different approach to piano technique, which is not often discussed, but I was very fortunate to meet a remarkable man who was of passing on this tradition of Abby Whiteside, and
I would really explore it. So that's a top secret tip into the way that I play the piano and the way that I don't just rely on these digits to play, but use my whole body to play, just as you would when you're closing a window or vacuuming or brushing up leaves. You know, that you use your whole body to play, your whole being, because you know music doesn't come from here. You know, it comes from here and here, doesn't it? So this is a really fascinating book and well worth reading. So that's a little insight. Abby Whiteside, Indispensables of Piano Playing. I recommend that you investigate that book.
I hope that helps. Subscribe for more videos like this. I may talk about the top arm and various other gadgets that we use when we are playing. Thanks for watching. I really hope I do these videos to just help you play better. So I hope this will inspire you, and I hope you'll enjoy trying it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.